Welcome to the Coaching Closet. I'm your host, Rochelle. Have you ever put together an outfit that was just right, making you feel amazing from head to toe? It takes thought, planning, and effort to create that perfect look. In life, it's the same. It's like a unique puzzle with individual pieces that we must pay attention to in order for everything to work together. If something is missing, it's like walking out of the house with no pants on. Are you ready to piece together your puzzle of life? Let's go. Welcome back to the Coaching Closet. Today, let's talk dating apps. So if you're like me and you've been single at one point, you will have most likely checked out a dating app or a dating website. And these can be particularly daunting, especially if you've been thrust back into the dating world after a breakup or divorce or long-term relationship. So for myself, I had gotten into my marriage relationship at age 18, married at 20, back out into the dating world. At age 42, met my ex-husband in 1993. So there were no dating apps back then. We met the good old-fashioned way at a bar. And coming back out onto the dating scene in 2017, everything had changed. And so I had heard from some friends that there was this swipe left or right thing, this concept of dating apps, and that's how a lot of people met. There were these dating websites like Match.com where there's profiles and pictures, and you had to put yourself out there in digital form. So, of course, there's Facebook, which I was used to, and Instagram. So it's kind of like that. So it's crazy to, be thrust out into this whole new world, and the learning curve is crazy and huge. So there are just some stats for you guys. There are 44 million users on dating websites and apps. 3 in 10 United States adults are on dating apps. And just breaking it down into age groups, 48% of age 18 to 29-year-olds have used a dating app. 38% of age 30 to 49-year-olds have used one. And only about 16% of age 50 and up have used a dating app. And so there are some of the more familiar ones. If you have been out there, you've probably heard of Tinder, Bumble, Match.com, eHarmony, those ones. But there are also some niche apps. There are so many different kinds for different hobbies, different religions, different things. So I found some that I had never heard of before. There's one that there's a commercial for, and it's pretty catchy. You've probably heard of it, Farmers Only. That one you might have heard of, but there's a few others that when I looked them up, I was like, wow, I've never heard of these. There's one called Biker Planet, one called Fitness Singles. There's Gamer Dating for gamers. There's Military Cupid and Single Parent Meet. So those are some niche dating apps that I'd never heard of before. So if you're interested, say you're a gamer and you want to meet another gamer, like you can meet someone that with your interests. There are some that are more for serious relationships, people that are really looking for a long-term relationship or something permanent. And those are, Match.com is probably the number one app, or they have an app and they also have a website. And then there's eHarmony. And you'll see the commercials for these, like more marriages or more long-term relationships. And then there's Elite Singles was also listed as one of the ones where there's more long-term relationships on there. And then there are some apps very well known for hookups. And what a hookup is, if you're not familiar, is just, hey, let's just meet, and it's just a one-night thing. So those are Tinder and Badoo, which I'd never heard of, to be honest with you. And then Bumble can go both ways. I do know people that have been married because they met on Bumble, but I also know people that have met on Bumble and it was for a hookup. So, you just kind of have to be aware when you go on these apps, if you are using them, that everyone has a different intention, and you can make your profile, make it well known that you are on there for a certain reason. You can write that out on there. It doesn't mean that people are going to pay attention to it, but then when you do start chatting back and forth, you can be clear about that. And so Bumble's one of the ones that is unique in that the woman has to message the man first. And so it's kind of cool, or at least I did use Bumble when I was single. And I enjoyed that because I didn't have to wait around like, should I message him? Should I not message him? I would just message. And then if they reply, then, they're interested and you go from there. There's also a Facebook dating now, and a lot of people meet on there. And I think that's kind of cool because Facebook is usually like when you meet someone, you kind of want to check them out. You kind of want to stalk them. At least that's how I am. And I just saw this TikTok video where this lady she's a stand-up comedian, and she was talking about how she stalked, it was her now husband, and she was like, so I stalked him because that's what we do. And, I used to ask guys their last name, and of course I stalked them because I'm not going to go out with you. If I don't know if you have a criminal record, I would at least try to find out if you're okay, and sometimes do background checks because, we live in a crazy world, so I'm not trying to get killed. So she was talking about how she would stalk. So on Facebook dating, a lot of times you can see their Facebook profile, which, tells a good amount about somebody. And, sometimes people do have public profiles or part of it is public. So you can see, at least a fair amount about them. So I know people that have dated on Facebook dating too. So it is interesting how a lot of people, they say, oh, I just love to meet my person in the grocery store. That would be ideal if I could just meet them organically. But the truth is, we are living in such a busy culture, and especially the past couple of years, we're living in more of a digital culture and digital age. More of us are working from home. More of us are, if we do go to the grocery store, we just run in and run out. It's not like we're spending a lot of time browsing the aisles and talking to strangers. I mean, for God's sakes, a lot of people are still wearing those masks on their face, and you can't even smile at another person. So how are you going to meet somebody in the grocery store? You're barely making eye contact. I mean, I do. I make eye contact and I smile, but some people are not doing that. So it's just the scenarios are different. Life is different. And so you can kind of take your time and, go online when you want to. And it can be like 2 a.m. You can go on those apps and swipe and match up with somebody. So it just makes it a lot more convenient and to meet people. And then I don't know, people are just doing it more, and it's one of the number one ways that people meet. Another option is using a matchmaking service that will actually find matches for you and find dates for you. And so these services are gaining more popularity more recently, and people will pay big money not to have to go through the trouble of getting on the apps and making a profile and talking to people, and they just want it done for them. And so for busy professionals, they will pay anywhere from $1,000, around that amount, to $10,000 and up for this service to be done for them, to get them matches, to get them dates, all the way to setting up the date for them, so that all they have to do is just go out on dates with people that are a perfect match for them. And these match services are all over the country in all of the major cities, and there's all kinds of services. And a lot of people are meeting that way as well. These matchmaking services are, sometimes they have their own database, and sometimes they do use all the databases out there, and they scour the internet and they scour these other dating apps for the people that they're looking for, and they will actually act as the person, because busy professionals that are traveling and working, they don't have hundreds of hours to spend per month on dating apps, looking for someone, talking to multiple people and all that stuff. So we're just living in a time where people are very, very busy. And especially if they're not working at a company where they can meet their person at work or meet their person traveling in the grocery store. So I would love to hear your comments. If you've met your significant other on a dating app, I would love to hear about that. Or if you've had crazy experiences. I'd love to hear about that too. I've kind of had both. So Jeff and I, if you've listened to how we met, we did meet in my singles group. But before we met in person, we did match on Bumble. So we matched, and then it didn't lead to anything because then we found each other on Facebook and we became friends on Facebook. And then shortly after we met in person. And then it was a few months later we started dating, but we did match on a dating app. So that's interesting. And I've also met a lot of friends on dating apps because, we'd go out and there would be like a major friendship chemistry, but not a romantic connection. And we become friends. And so that happens too. And I've talked to a lot of people like that too. And another thing, I think if you listen to my episode on after divorce, how I created what I needed, I explained that on the Bumble app, there is a BFF portion. And I don't know if any of the other apps have this, but you can find friends on there. And I don't know if guys do this, but it's especially helpful for women that are, looking for friends. A lot of times in adult life, it's hard to find friends as an adult unless you're involved in a lot of activities or community. I found some amazing friends on Bumble BFF, and then that ended up starting this singles group that I currently help admin with all my other admins, and that I met my man in. So these can be very helpful, and I hope that you guys will comment and let me know how your experience has been on dating apps, and just share with me, and please share this episode with a friend. I'll see y'all next time. Thank you for joining me today on the Coaching Closet. My hope is that with each episode, you will discover, like an amazing puzzle, all of the unique pieces in your life fit together to create the beautiful image of you. If you find this podcast to be helpful and would like to share with others, please do me a quick favor and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. This helps to make the podcast more visible. Thanks again for spending your time with me today. Be sure to visit me at coachingcloset.com for past episodes and gifts to help you find your beauty from the inside out.